Perfect. Now I have your number. Thanks.
Hey, I'm Robbie Kramer. You're listening to the Leverage Podcast, where we discuss using your social skills to hack dating, travel, finding your dream job, and becoming a complete man. We've got a returning guest, St. Robert Daygame, who was on the podcast episode 166, I believe. And that episode is actually going to be dropped on Friday. And so this one will be coming out after that. Awesome dude. And we're going to be speaking today about everyone's favorite topic, which is threesomes. And
everyone's dream topic, man.
The dream topic. So why don't you, I'll share a bit, you share a bit. Why don't you go first? We can just kind of go back and forth on our experience and best practices.
In my eyes, since I was a kid, since I lost my virginity at age 15, the one thing I wanted most always was a threesome. And I always thought it's like that for everyone. So I know it's not like that for everyone, but to me,
it was like that for me.
Yeah, I mean, threesomes for me was this holy grail. And I remember I tried to set up the first threesome when I was like 15 or 16, and I didn't succeed, of course, because the one of the chicks got too drunk, but what
age did you lose your virginity? That's pretty young.
Yeah. Well, like 15, Latvia.
Yeah.
Okay. This loud BMX riding guy with pants below his ass cheeks and with piercings and all, like I was that kid.
Okay.
the loud kid. So kind of came with the turf, but
so you were the bad boy, basically.
I was, yeah, in a way, yeah. I was bad and good at the same time. You could say that. Like I was doing some really good things at school, like but doing really bad at school. Like doing good things but doing bad. And I was a bit of a dick when I was a kid. So I don't know. I think it came with the person. I was always horny and wanted to fuck something. So I was always trying to find ways to seduce girls, even when I was that young. And it started with online, and I always tried bringing up threesomes in every relationship I was in, but they somehow they never happened. And my first ones were actually in my last relationship with my last girlfriend. She was like, she opened my eyes to many things, including BDSM, which is a whole different topic we can cover another time. Mm-hmm. But then we decided to shoot for the threesome, and
that was the first one you had when you were a teenager.
No. This was the last one. This was maybe like I've been single for between 3.5, 4 years. So maybe like 5 years ago, maybe a bit more. And that was the first one. And then when I became single, when I started daygaming, that's when this shit
one
got
was
fun.
5 or 6 years ago.
First one was 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah.
Wait, so give me the timeline. So you tried to have one when you were like 15, 16, when you started, when you lost your virginity. Yeah. I'm guessing you're what? You're like somewhere around 30? How old are you?
33.
33. Okay. So then you had your first one at 28?
Something like that. Could be some 27, 28, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I had my first one at 26, 27. It was also with a girlfriend. We saw that movie Hall Pass. You ever heard of that movie?
I've heard the name. It was something where you give your significant other a pass to bang someone else. Yes,
exactly. And typical American romantic comedy. They go and bang other people and almost bang other people, and crazy stories ensue. And then after, I love you, I shouldn't have done it, sort of thing. So, so we gave each other hall passes. She capitalized on the first one. I struck out that weekend while she was gone. And then another weekend I was able to cash in. And then we went to Vegas together a bit after and found another girl for a threesome, which is it it was a pretty cool experience, I have to say. Just like picking her up, we picked her up at Dre's underground nightclub, and we lost her like a bunch of times. I lost my girlfriend of the series of night. Getting her back from Dre's to the Bellagio where we were staying, we almost got cock blocked by like other dudes, because other dudes don't really, they just assume you have two girls, so one of them's free. It's like, no, I'm trying to, right? And then that girl's getting distracted, and this is all happening at like 5, 6 in the morning. So that was my first experience. So sorry to interrupt. Tell me about yours.
Oh no, mine was super easy. It was just we decided to do it. The girl, we actually did it online. We found a chick via Tinder. That was when Tinder started, and it was when it had some quality material in there back in the days, and it was fucking easy. So no, that was easy. We just set up like a couple profile, and so we took the easy path.
Nice. Yeah. Ours was definitely not the easy path, but it was an easy situation because the girl basically came up to us at the bar, and she was very flirtatious, and she basically said, like, "Are you guys thinking of a threesome later?" And we're like, "Actually, we were," but I think we were also giving out that energy. So you were hunting on Tinder, and what was the conversation prior to that with your girlfriend to kind of build up to that? Were you guys monogamous before that?
Yeah, we were monogamous, but she had done a lot of shit before. She was way more experienced in kinky shit than I was. So she had done like, she had went very deep down the BDSM rabbit hole. She had threesomes, foursomes before. So she opened my world to all of this shit. So that's, I think that's threesome, but that threesome was like fairly boring, because apart from that being the experience where you finally, where you like go through trial and error trying to set it up with your girlfriend. Well, actually, I think it gets interesting from the point where you start meeting the girls for threesomes, because it's not like they're coming around and just, okay, let's fuck. You still gotta seduce them.
Right.
Because we actually went out with several girls. We went out with this. Oh no, this one, for the first threesome, she actually came over to our place. But when we hanged out, we made out a little bit. We didn't fuck, but we agreed that let's do this on another day. And then we went on like a date out for drinks, 3 of us, and then went back to ours. And so that was kind of also like a process. There was another chick that just came over to fuck. That was, to me, that was really boring. Like, I'm not enjoying that's why I experimented in Serbia with chicks from FetLife, and I'm not gonna do that anymore, because it's sort of like banging Tinder chicks. I'm not enjoying that, and FetLife is as well. They're fairly kinky, whereas I prefer to seduce girls that are good girls. And also when it comes to threesomes, I enjoy much more. Like, I get way more pleasure to take 2 girls who've never had threesomes before, who never had one night stands before, and I'm sleeping with both of them separately, and then I bring them together, and I had to go through the whole seduction process where they seduce each other, because it is like they don't show up, and they're like, there is an art to getting 2 good girls in the same room, and to know that they will click, and I did that several times, and that
I actually have I have a buddy who always comes to my immersion events, whether they're here in Kiev, and he's a nomadic traveler. He's actually been on the podcast. I won't say who it is to protect his secrecy, because he doesn't like to advertise this part, but he's a threesome connoisseur, threesome, foursome, fivesome, him plus, only other women. And it's exactly like what you're describing. He loves to find girls who have never had threesomes before and put them together, foursomes. He even had a threesome or a foursome, I think, with 2 virgins and 1 girl who wasn't a virgin. And it's not like he's particularly hunting for this sort of but he teaches all this stuff in great detail in that event. And I've heard it many times. So I'm curious how much your sort of mentality matches up with his, because I'm guessing it's very, very similar, but I'm all ears, so keep going.
So the first thing that a guy might ask is, let's say a guy is maybe dating a girl, or he has a regular, or just like seeing some girls. Well, the first question is how the hell do you bring up a topic of threesome? And guys are even scared to bring that up, but I actually bring it up with almost every girl I'm seeing. I will bring it up, and I will see how they react. And since one thing I do is, when I sleep with girls, I go pretty deep from the get-go. Like, we will do, like, I will start, like, even the first time we fuck, I'll probably choke her, I'll probably spank her, I'll probably slap her face and stuff like that. So she already, if she hasn't done any of that shit, she's already is like, whoa, this is fucking different, this is crazy, I like this, like, I've been dreaming about this. So she already sees me as this crazier guy to explore her sexuality with, and that immediately puts me in a different box. And maybe after I slept with the girl a few times, I will ask, has she had experiences with girls? Has she, like, what's the story there? And we will just talk about this for not a deep conversation, just a few minutes. Her experiences, what she's been kind of dreaming about, has she ever thought about it? And then I might either on that time I might say, okay, if I ever meet anyone who I think you would really, really click with, then I will introduce you. Or another time when I'm seeing her, I just will tell, listen, I met this girl, and you two are just like, you would get along so incredibly well. It's just crazy. I have to introduce the two of you, and we'll just go for a wine, and we will see whether it ends as a wine or something more. And so you kind of set it up like they know why they are meeting each other, but right. It's also like, well, we'll go for a drink, and like, we'll see what happens or doesn't. Yeah, there's like absolutely no pressure. And I genuinely do it. And this is a very important part. So first of all, when you want to set up threesomes, first thing you need, well, it's really hard to do if you only have one chick. Because even if your girl agrees, imagine, like, guys have to think, like, imagine someone has one girl they're seeing, and then the girl agrees to have a threesome, and then you, without having any fucking dating skills, have to find another girl who is not just willing to fuck you, but to fuck you on your girl. That's a really hard task to do. So it's much, I think it's much easier to do if you have a lot of dating experience, if you have several girls you're seeing. Of course, it can be done via online, or right. A girl can actually, like, if a guy doesn't have much of experience and he doesn't know where to get girls like that, a girl can actually do that for him, whether that's online, whether that's, I don't know, her friends or. But
well, this is an important point, because so when I first started having threesomes, I had the one experience in Vegas I mentioned, and then a few years went by where I was single, and I spent a ton of time day gaming, building like a roster of girls, or a squad or a harem, whatever you want to call it. I was dating multiple women. And then I met a girl who I really liked, and we started dating. And, I told her from the beginning, I'm like, listen, I'm not interested in anything like serious or monogamous. I just want to have fun, and I just want to go threesome hunting. And she's like, that's all I want to do too. And we started, no joke, going out 5 to 6 nights a week in LA, just hunting for threesomes. And we did it wrong for the first, like, probably 10 or 11 tries. We had like so many experiences where we either brought girls back and they wouldn't go all the way. Like, they'd be into her, but they wouldn't be into me. And that was the reason, was because she was doing most of the actual like work. And so the other women were attracted to her. They were attracted to me by default because she was hot, but they weren't attracted enough to me to basically like want to sleep with me, or they were always like, oh, we can kiss or we can do this, but I just want to like play with her. And that's because I wasn't the one bringing the energy. I wasn't approaching. I was basically like the side piece sort of thing. And I realized, like, all right, that doesn't work. I need to be the one kind of driving this forward. The girl needs to be primarily attracted to me, and then obviously attracted to my girlfriend secondly, which creates a whole nother host of problems and some jealousy and sort of things. But that's the same situation where you're casually dating girls and you say to one, you know, I'm interested in the threesome. Are you down? She says yes. And you say to the other, you know, you interested in threesome? She says yes. And they're obviously already hooking up with you. So they meet each other, and like that's more seamless. But going out and hunting for girls, you have to take that same mentality. And as the guy, you have to generate that attraction. Otherwise, you'll end up getting cock blocked later. So that was the funny story. The first time we actually succeeded, I think it was like our 11th or 12th try, which only took 2 weeks because we were going out so often. But met this other girl, and she was with this dude, like really scary looking dude. This guy was like 6'6", tattoos, huge buff. And he was trying to pull the other girl. But we had already like basically kind of whispered to her, like, yeah, let's go back and have a threesome. And she's like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get away from this guy. He's too aggressive. I'm like, what if I pretend like I'm gay? And she was like, that might work. So she was kind of like at his table area, but my girlfriend was obviously there and flirting with him a bit. And as time went on, like I just kind of started acting more and more gay. And later I was able to just kind of be like that gay, fruity best friend, like, come on girls, let's go. We're going home, right? And like managed to like kick him out of the cab and like pull this crazy like escape experience. And had I not pretended like that, he definitely would have tried to kill me. But I don't recommend pretending you're gay to pull a threesome.
What if he was bisexual?
That could have been a big problem. So anyway, crazy. I digress, but please go back.
Yeah, so it all starts with suggesting one girl that, oh damn, I met this chick you have to meet, and I would say the same shit to the other girl, and they both are like, they're both, usually it was with girls who are good girls. Like, yeah. I was maybe their first one night stand. I was maybe the first guy they're seeing casually, or the first guy they slept on a first date. Did I say that already? No, didn't. So and you bring them together, and so first you kind of have to. The thing is, you need sick level of abundance in your mindset, because if guys, like, if you expect that those girls will come together and they will want to fuck each other, like, it's not going to happen like that. It's still a big thing for them. And if you look at the seduction model of building attraction between you and a girl, and then building comfort with you and a girl, and then the seduction part where you start physically escalating, it's the same with two girls. They need to become attracted to each other, then they need to build comfort with one another, and then they need to start physically escalating. Right. And that is like, fuck. And so I would usually have one of them come over maybe like 30 minutes earlier, then a second one appears. And this usually happened straight at my place, because they both were familiar with my place. They've been around and they know how shit works. And what I would do is, so normally on a date, you have like basically like a structure. What do you talk about? How do you spike? How do you raise attraction? So I would do the same stuff, ask the same questions, but in a way that they're talking to each other. I would make them talk between themselves and build attraction, like tell some crazy things about each other. And then I would do like that, kind of give hints how they can build comfort. I would ask a question, and then they would discuss the question with each other and talk about her, like boring shit, like work.
Would you play the questions game with them? Because that can be fun. It's kind of like truth or dare.
I've tried it. I actually still play questions game on my dates.
Yeah, I've played all the time.
I have a limited version of 5 questions, and like there are rules in the question game. Because if you play questions game, it's so long. And back in the days when I was playing it, I would play it with unlimited number of questions, and the last question I would ask was from 1 to 10, how wet are you?
Okay.
And whenever she said 8 or more, I just took off her pants and fucked her.
She's
But
like 7. You're like, shit, what do I do
shit.
now?
Yeah. And actually, I did this once, and the girl said like 5, and then she said, I asked later, she said 7. I just said, well, whenever you say 8, I'll fuck you. And it went on for hours, and then I was like, I was like just tired, and I didn't want to fuck her anymore. She just like was taking too long, and she just said, okay, I'm at like 8.5, and I just left.
Well, that's definitely the abundance mindset.
Yeah, so I got really like
Mhm.
bored by taking hours, and I was meeting my friend like an hour later. I was like, I would rather meet my friend than fuck this chick. So anyways, I would make
But
them
yeah,
build attraction. Yeah, the attraction, the
the
comfort.
same thing. Yeah, like asking them questions that reveal, their more authentic self. Getting
Yes.
the girls to connect. Yeah, everything that works on a date with 2 people works on a date with 3. And the beauty of
Yes.
women is, women compared to like nerdy IT guys and engineers and former guys like myself, they're usually pretty good at having those conversations. A lot better than most guys are. So those connections tend to happen a lot faster than
Yeah.
than maybe you'd be used to if you haven't had threesomes before.
Yeah, and on one thing I did, and I did this in all the threesomes, whether it was with me and 2 girls, whether it was me, my friend, and a chick, or because I do all types of threesomes, like
Mhm.
no crossing swords or whatever, but
Sure.
and there is this, and this is a genius thing that this is a game changer. So when you have built enough comfort and you start spiking and they start talking about crazier topics, all of a sudden I run out of alcohol.
Okay.
And I have to go to the store,
Oh shit.
or I get an important phone call and I
Mm-hmm.
gotta go take it. And it's not a phone call. I just want to leave them 2 together.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. I
Yes,
thought,
because I
fair,
want them to connect without me.
right.
I would leave, and the first time I did this, I actually did run out of booze.
Oh, so it was an
And
accident.
it was an accident, but I was like, oh, I'll go get some more, like whatever. I think we were drinking vodka or something, and I went for more vodka and softs, and the store right next to my apartment was closed for whatever reason, so I had to go to another store which is like 10 minutes away. So I come back 20 minutes later, and they're like looking at me and like blushing a little bit. It's like, hey, can you maybe bring us a chocolate? So they're like, can you fuck off for a little bit more?
Uh-huh.
So and I fuck off for like 30 more minutes, or maybe not that much, maybe like 15 more minutes. And I come back and I bring the chocolate and marshmallows and whatever, everything. And they're sitting both in their black dresses, but there are 2 bras on the sofa.
So they went at it without you?
I think they just teased me.
Okay.
I think they had a conversation about what's happening and all of that shit. But one tricky thing is why I believe that if a guy is setting this up with 2 girls that aren't as crazy, and this is a new experience for them, and especially if they're beautiful and they know how to play with guys and how to kind of try to snatch the frame, what has happened in almost all of these threesomes is they do try to snatch the frame. They do try to take the frame away, to take control of it, and like kind of be a little bit fussy about it, and like no, like, and kind of annoy you and really see how you react. And this has happened, I think in all the threesomes, whether it was threesomes where I put two girls together, or whether it was a threesome where a girl just took another girl over. It always, there was some shit going on. So unless it's with chicks that both come to the apartment to fuck, you really need some good tight game to pull off threesomes with girls that aren't.
Yeah, they'll test you along the way. And I think that's a really good point, is giving them that time together to connect, and they're probably, they're gonna talk about it. So he brought us here for a threesome. Should we do it? Blah 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 blah. Right? And they're gonna test you and probably have that like girl bonding time. And then
maybe that girl bonding time gives them this feeling, oh, let's play with them a bit, and that's their bonding by playing me a little bit, like having fun of like, let's see what like how he will behave like a little puppy. And to them, maybe, and they're not saying it, but I think they agree. It's like a mutual unspoken agreement that, oh, we're bonding and we'll have this fun. And then you come back with your booze or whatever you went out for from your long phone call, and they expect that they will control something, and then they see, oh fuck, no, he fucking played both of us. Wow.
Right.
Damn, this guy.
We thought we were playing him, but he was playing us.
yeah. And I think that is fucking really cool.
So I've done it a few times where I've same situation that you described, 2 girls I'm sleeping with, mentioned to both of them, let's have a threesome. They said sure. And then I would meet up with the first one. We would meet at a bar close to my place. The second one would show up. We'd hang out and have drinks and just kind of connect at the bar. And then depending on the vibe, suggest, wine back at my place and then go back, and the same sort of thing. Would you always start at your house, or would you also try bars? What's your take on that?
I haven't tried bars. I've always met at my place, because I'm sleeping with both of them. Like, they know my place. They've been there a lot. They stayed over a lot, and so I think it's fairly easy. If it was with girls that I've only slept maybe like twice, then I could maybe see myself doing a bar, because they're not that comfortable with me yet.
Right.
They haven't become clingy yet, which they sooner or later always it usually happens. So, but no, mostly I would do my place. So you prefer bars?
Not necessarily prefer, but it sometimes can be a good option. It reminds me of one specific threesome I had that was really good. And the reason we decided to go to that bar in particular is we had an association. Like, I met one of the girls at that bar. So she loved that bar, of course. And the other one, I had been telling about that bar many times. It's called Employees Only in New York City. Great bar. So I was like, hey, remember my friend, call her Susie, we were talking about, let's meet up with, my other friend, Elisa at Employees Only. Remember I told you about Elisa? And, we had obviously had that threesome conversation before. They're like, oh, Employees Only? Yeah, let's go. And then, of course, so we meet up there and have some drinks. And I know a bunch of the bartenders and the staff and the door guys. So if you're going to pick a bar, if the more set up you are at that bar, of course, that helps. The more social proof you have. But you could also run into problems by going to a bar, because there's other guys, there's other variables to control. When you're at home, there's no variables. It's just you and the girls. So
I never okay, there are other guys. What's the problem with that? I mean, the girls won't talk to them. They're with me.
Right. Well, there's just always that extra variable of, one girl meets some guy and who knows, she likes him or she wants to bring him into the action.
Oh no, she's out as a regular forever. For even talking to the guy. Like, no, I'm someone like, if I was walking with a girl and guy decided, oh, like, I'm a day gamer, I should open anything. Like, even the guy, like, if guy opened me when I'm walking with the girl, I would tell him what I think about him and what's gonna happen, and I would be very like, fuck off, dude. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, during day game, of course. But in this situation,
bars, I would tell him to fuck off as well. Like, I know it could end up pretty shitty, but the girl shouldn't talk to him. Well, she's with me, and if she talks to him, like, fuck that girl. I don't want to have anything to do with her anymore ever.
Well, the situation could be where you're both like, it's a crowded bar, so there's people like shoulder to shoulder, and you're standing there talking, and there could be a guy talking to another girl, and then he starts talking over your shoulder, maybe even starts talking to you, right? And then it becomes an interesting conversation, and then the girl starts talking to him, and then they develop a sort of thing. So it's not like he's really, this isn't the guy has game, obviously. It's not like he's trying to steal the girl. He's just in a socially calibrated way, finding his way into the conversation. And then the girl's like, oh, let's, we were going to have this plan to have a threesome. Let's bring him. Let's make it crazy. And then you're kind of stuck in this situation like, fuck, yeah, I'm supposed to be open-minded and I'm telling you to be open-minded, but now I'm saying, no, fuck that, which you totally can do. You're like, listen, no, I don't want that guy. Let's just go home. But I'm just saying there are problems that can arise. That's why it's better to not do bars, in my experience.
Yeah. I don't know.
You just can't anticipate what's going to happen.
They should be on a fucking leash and behave. What the fuck are they doing? Those chicks. I mean, what the fuck? What sort of an attitude is that? No, I mean, it can happen, but that's girls misbehaving. But seriously.
Well, she's not necessarily doing anything. She's just like an innocent bystander, right? He's not really hitting on her, but she's an open-minded, free-spirited. You run into tons of these girls at like Burning Man, much more common, I'd say, in the US than I've experienced in hanging out in Eastern Europe. But that's how the American chicks will test you more a lot of the time. They'll be like, oh, let's bring this guy, or let's bring this gay guy and see what happens there. Like, it's like, all right, you want to be open-minded and do some crazy shit? Like, let's raise the bar even more.
No, I don't want to be open-minded. I want to have a threesome. Like, what the fuck is this shit? I want to have a threesome, not be open-minded.
So
that's for my kind of...
If you want a threesome and only a threesome, don't go to a bar, because you could end up with...
Yeah, but I see what you're saying, and there's definitely a risk factor there that I wouldn't want to deal with just because of my attitude towards them as misbehavior, and my behavior wouldn't be calibrated, but I would tell them to like fuck off because they are misbehaving and would never see them again. But that's how I would react, because that's the kind of attitude I would say I'm used to from girls. If they're like flaking on me, then I would stop seeing a regular because she flaked a few times. Like, what the fuck is that? I don't like attitude. I'm a little prince. So but yeah, I actually agree that fuck the bars. At least fuck crowded bars. Like, go to an empty one where you can have a booth to yourself and bond. But as far as going to bars, but then again, I don't enjoy bars and clubs in general, so it's not my scene. I've never enjoyed that. Right. I go to bars only for dates, and even then I try to choose outdoor bars with cool views, just because I don't give a fuck about the drinks that much. I care about where we are and the environment and all of that stuff. But yeah, definitely I always do it at home. Fuck, I remember this. And when it comes to like abundance and not being reactive, I remember this one threesome I tried to set up for. It failed. I think it failed 3 times, and then it happened. Okay. So both girls were regulars, both were around 20. Maybe one was like 22, one was like, I think one was 22 and one was 19. And I spoke with both of them, and one of them will appear in an other crazy story later. Hint, hint, threesome from a 3-set.
Okay.
So these 2 girls, and we agreed that we should have drinks and hang out together. So first time, one of them flakes, I think like one day before or morning of the day when we should have met. Okay, whatever. Like, pride didn't happen. Next time we set it up again. The first one arrives. The second one just flakes last minute with an excuse. I'm too lazy to go anywhere. Like, get me a cab. And I was like, I didn't even respond to that because like I don't care. Like, it's not a nice behavior. I'm not even gonna respond to that. And it's a non-reactivity. It's important that I enjoy spending time with both of the girls separately, even if the other one doesn't show up. So the second time, again, she flakes. I'm like, fuck. The third time,
was she expecting to show up to a threesome situation?
We're having drinks. We'll see how it ends. Right. Type up sort of thing. And
did she know another girl would be there?
Yeah. She knew Like everything was, she knew we were meeting the three of us.
One thing that my buddy would do, he would plant the seed about he was interested in threesomes, usually after sex, like when you're lying there, pillow talk, as they say. And he'd be like, hey, have you ever had a threesome before? She would say, blah, blah, blah. Are you interested in threesome? She'd say, sure, I'm open to it, sort of thing. And then once he found out they were open to it, he would usually just invite them over for wine, and he wouldn't even tell them the other girl would be there. Or sometimes two girls would be there. Sometimes three girls would be there. They'd just be showing up. Or he'd tell them, like, as they're coming in, oh, my other friend dropped by too. You'll get to meet her. And then all of a sudden they're just having wine. So that, he said, when he started, he toyed around with that a bit. He said it was less flaky because girls weren't as nervous, right? Because if they know they're going to meet another girl and they can have that sort of last minute, stage fright or whatever. So that's another thing I figured I'd throw in there.
Did he do that in Eastern Europe or in US? Or both?
In St. Petersburg, mostly.
Okay, that's an interesting way to look at it. I gotta try that.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. I think it's important in that case that none of the girls is clingy, and really they're not like crying because you're leaving the city and in a few weeks. And because I had a chick over like 2 nights ago, and she was just crying because I'm leaving the city in 2 weeks. She literally started crying.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was living there, so I don't think they really had that worry.
So anyways, so it fails twice, and then the third time they finally both show up, but like they're both shy, so they kind of need to get a bit drunk, and so we're drinking, and then we roll a joint, and then the worst thing happens. One of them is really shit-faced, smokes weed on top of it, and just like, it's bad. Like she just like went pukes. So anyways, she pukes for a little bit, goes to bed, and while she's sleeping in the bedroom, I'm in the living room, fucking the other chick on the table. But both of them after that experience were like, damn, I really liked that girl. She was so amazing. Thank you for introducing us. That was really cool. We should meet again. And then we finally met again, and we had a fucking amazing threesome. But it's just a story of how the same setup, like the same girls, it failed 3 times until it finally happened. And it was extremely important from my part to be non-reactive and kind of stay chilled out about it.
Yeah. A lot of the time, even if it doesn't happen the first time, the girls get to know each other, and maybe something like that happens. They're a little bit nervous, so one gets too shit-faced. It'll probably happen the next time. Like, I had a lot of experiences like that where, it was close to going down for whatever reason, or sometimes we would meet. I was out with a girl and we'd try to pull another girl. I love going to bars and clubs, and I like hunting in those places. So I would spend a lot of time like taking the girls I was dating out to meet other girls, and not always does, it's easy. It's really easy to pick up girls with another girl because you're automatically pre-selected, right? And getting a girl back to an after party, if you have a girl to help you do that, is the easiest thing in the world, because she can just basically like caveman bring her back, like, you're coming with me, let's go, and like take her by the arm, and they'll always come back, because it's not like they're going back to some dude's like rape cave where there's 5 guys that are ready to like and they know they're going back to, like, and there's girls. Like, if you try to bring girls to an after party and there's no girls, it's the hardest thing in the world. But if you have girls, it's the easiest thing in the world. And sometimes we'd get them back, and many things could go wrong, and they, wouldn't happen, but it would usually happen the next time down the road. So as long as I remain patient and not reactive or upset or salty, it would always eventually happen.
This actually now I'm starting to think that going out for drinks to a bar is a good idea.
Yeah, man.
Go out to a bar, have some drinks, and end it at that. Mm-hmm. By the way, how do you handle so how you have 2 girls in the same room, and like you've been with one, you've been with the other one, but then at some point you would have to become physical with either like with one and then the other one while you're still just, you're not having, nothing's happening yet. You're just sitting and having drinks. How do you handle that?
So I like to play a more aggressive version of the questions game called Spin the Bottle, Truth or Dare. So first I'll suggest the questions game, and I'll be like, hey, let's play a game. It's basically truth or dare without the dare. We take turns asking questions. The only rules are you have to be honest. You can't ask boring questions. The questions have to make the other person awkward or uncomfortable. And you have to answer the question you're asked. And if you guys don't want to think of the questions, don't worry, I'll choose the questions. So, and I've played this so many times, I know exactly like how to sort of build that up. You know, you can't just start with like, you know, what's your favorite sex position? Because you just look like a thirsty loser, right?
That's
so
what girls ask all the time. What the fuck is that?
If the girls ask first, that's great. That's ideal, right? Like when you're playing that game and the girls start with sexual, you can immediately go sexual. But usually it's a little bit more smooth to not start with something sexual. Like what's the thing you've been the most trouble for? And then after that, the next question is typically like, you know, what's the craziest place? Where's the craziest place you've ever had sex, right? Because that you're not framing it like you and her. But this is with girls you haven't hooked up with before. If you've hooked up with both of them already, you can start much more, and you can say like, all right, let's play spin the bottle, truth or dare. You guys know how to play spin the bottle, right? Spin the bottle, and whoever it lands on, you have to choose a dare, and the person who spins it chooses the dare for the person lands on. So let's say me, you, and some other guy is playing here. I spin it. The bottle voices at you. I spun it. So I ask you, all right, here's your dare. You have to close your eyes. We're both going to grab your boobs, and you have to tell us which one it was. Right. So I'll do things like that are pretty like in the beginning, like easy enough, not too crazy. And they build up. Like now we're both going to kiss you and you have to decide who it was. Things that involve like both people.
Yeah, and, it's a great thing for bearded guys.
Yeah, exactly. And I've done this in group situations too. It's even better with like big groups of people, big groups of girls. Obviously, is fun. But playing that game, spin the bottle, truth or dare. I actually also have it. Let me show you. So I created a Jenga set. So
oh,
you know
fuck.
Jenga?
Yeah, I know. Yes.
And
Where did you learn about it?
I made it up.
I literally recorded a podcast with a friend of mine, Mr. T, yesterday or like 2 days ago. And he told a story about how he went to a sex club in New York City and they were playing Jenga, where on the one side of the brick you have a dare and on the other side you have a question.
Yeah, same deal. Although on ours, we only have dares.
Yeah.
This is like the most ridiculous Jenga. So, and they range. So here's the blocks, right? And
yes,
they're obviously stacked like this and you can't see them. But if it has a black dot on the end, it means it's a really like bad raunchy one. So it's like, don't pull that one unless you want to do something bad. So like this one that's not, right? You pull it out and it says kiss left. Right. So obviously you kiss the person to your left. This one, you pull it out and it says blowjob or cunnilingus. Okay. So that's why you want to be careful to pull the black one. This one, for example, says gender top swap. So if you're a guy, you have to trade tops with the girl. So there's all sorts of crazy shit like this. And these fun games, like playing these games, are just a great, way to sort of escalate and lead into fun, and it can be a lot of fun. Obviously, if you have with 3 people, it's a game. Trying to play that with just one girl on a date wouldn't really work, obviously. But
I had to write down to make a Jenga like that.
Yeah, actually, there's been so many people who've come to my parties and stuff like that and played this game. Like, you need to make this a game and put it in like sex stores. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just too lazy. But it's really like nothing gets a party going like spin the bottle, truth or dare, or Jenga, right? And it's the same rules. It's just how you're delivering them. Like with Jenga, you know, people are just pulling blocks. With Spin a Bottle, Truth or Dare, it's more dynamic. People are asking questions and trying to think of things. But the more you play, the better you get. And the better you get at recognizing, because with threesomes or with any sort of group sexual experience, if you have to go at the speed of the most uncomfortable person, right? And if that person, so if you try to escalate or you try to move things forward before that person's comfortable, like it's gonna fuck everything over.
Oh yeah.
So, right? But if you can really figure out their speed and slowly get them to feel more and more comfortable, then things will progress. So that's really like the mindset. It's like, all right, who is the least comfortable here, and how can we make her more comfortable? And if everyone's on that same page, usually things go in the right direction.
Yeah. I actually just remembered about threesome hunting. This one summer, we have in Latvia this festival, which is like kind of like a hipster, hippie-ish festival, like a smaller one, but it had become more popular. So it was like harder with drugs. Like you couldn't really smoke weed openly because there was like dogs everywhere. But anyways, this one chick I'm seeing goes there. She's been a regular of mine since I started Daygame. Oh my, it's like years and still going. She actually had a relationship in between, and then we did a photo shoot at my place, which ended with us fucking, and that was not a good idea because her boyfriend was literally a wanted criminal.
Shit.
So I was like, shit, like I had to have that conversation with her. It's like, hey, bitch, you're not telling it to him. It's like, no way, like fuck that, I would never. But I was already not living in Latvia. So anyways, and she sends me a message, hey, I'm at this festival, come over. And we had a few threesomes before, so she knew that why I'm going there. It's like, oh yeah, let's go hunt for some threesomes. And I get a tent, I get a few bottles of wine, I get a few joints, and we go there. And we were walking around the festival and just hunting for threesomes. And what we got, which worked really, really fast and good, was from some girl we got hair glitter. It's like glitter with glue. Like you just can apply it anywhere and it stays there. It doesn't kind of come off of that easily. And we were walking around doing day game opens at a festival with a chick, pretty like direct, and we went on an adventure with them, and then sooner or later we would start painting each other with the glitter, and we would just end up in a forest while we're walking.
Festivals are the best places to hunt for threesomes.
Yeah,
really open-minded people. I spent a ton of time. Obviously, Burning Man, it's like almost too easy because it's such a sexual vibe. But like any sort of, I did a lot of hunting at the Balaton Sound Music Festival in Budapest, or outside of Budapest. The Exit Festival in I think it was like Belgrade or Novi Sad.
Yeah, in Novi Sad, yeah.
And the Ziget in Budapest too.
Yes.
Yeah. And the beauty, I've got some pretty good. Well, if you have a girl and you're hunting for another girl, you can be pretty direct. You know, you could kind of go up to her and you can just say, "Hey, my girlfriend and I think you're super hot." You know, like you're not necessarily creepy by saying that. You can say, "My girlfriend totally has a crush on you." You can just say, "Hey, we want to have a threesome with you." That can work, but it can be met
too direct. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I had a lot of fun using was basically asking these three questions. I would go up and be like, "Hey, random weird question for you. Do you have a boyfriend?" And I'd have the girl on my arm, of course. And, you know, sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. If they say no, be like, okay, do you find me attractive, and do you find her attractive? And she'd be like, yes and yes. And I'd be like, okay, so what's your excuse for not making out with us right now? And before she answers, you just like push the girls' heads together and they start making out. Then you enjoy it, right? Because it's like, if she says she doesn't have a boyfriend and she says yes to the attraction, there's no excuse that she could possibly come up with, right? Which is something I stole from a that YouTuber Vitaly.tv. I saw him do that to girls in LA, just random girls. I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to use in a threesome. And so I was able to pull a couple threesomes using that stupid line.
Yeah, because I think I've heard that line somewhere, probably on YouTube or
It was
somewhere, right?
yeah. I'm sure it's that same video of Vitaly. Yeah, he would just go up to random girls and say that. But yeah,
So,
using it for a threesome is easier because you've got the girl with you. You know.
of course.
Yeah.
So what's your craziest threesome story?
I don't know. There's been so many. It's hard to. Well, the one with the first time I used that line, I was at the Abbey, which is a gay bar in West Hollywood. And gay bars are great places to hunt for threesomes because it's usually hot chicks with a bunch of gay guys who aren't giving them attention. And then, you know, the girls are frustrated that they're not getting enough attention like they usually would when they're out. So they're very happy to like go home and meet guys. And usually girls who go to gay bars are typically more sexually open anyways. You know, you're not going to get a total prude or a really good girl going to a gay bar. And if you're out hunting for a threesome, which is different than what you were talking about, which is, you know, taking girls from Daygame and bringing them together, usually you're going to find more experienced, sort of open-minded, crazy chicks, which I was happy to do. So me and an ex-girlfriend at the time, we used that line, met this girl, and immediately, I think after we made out with her, she was like, let's have a threesome. And it wasn't like, let's go right now and have one, but we're like, okay, later sort of thing. And then she started telling us these crazy stories. She was an actress. And it turns out she ended up giving us like a totally fake name and this whole fake story about herself. Like everything she said was fake, which we found out later. But she ended up coming back to the house, and I lived like right around the corner, so it was really easy. But before we went to back to my place, we went to another bar, and then we went back to our place. And then while we're banging, my ex-girlfriend like grabbed a dildo, tried to stick the dildo in her ass. And the girl, like while she was basically, you know, riding me, so basically tried to double penetrate her with the dildo. And the girl, like totally unexpected, the girl like freaked out, jumped off, grabbed her clothes, and like ran out of the house. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, catch her, go get her. So she's running after her like naked down the street. Can't catch her. You know, I'm like lying on my back at the fence. I'm not moving. The girl jumps in her car, and she's wasted. Like she's really drunk. I think she was maybe even doing some like Molly or something. And she drives away. And my girlfriend goes back and she's like, "Oh my God, she drove her car." I'm like, "Fuck!" Like, I just hope she's okay, because I'm like, the odds of her not crashing her car are like slim to none. So she ends up driving all the way back to like the Pacific Palisades. So I don't know if you're familiar with LA, but you've got like West Hollywood. Pacific Palisades is like a 35-minute drive towards the beach through like mountainous, hilly, like Beverly Hills, like a very rich area, like a country club neighborhood. She gets all the way into her neighborhood and fucking crashes her car into like her neighbor's mailbox. So she's like trying to turn into her driveway and smashes the mailbox. And she passes out like in the car. The cops come and amazingly don't give her a DUI. But she's in the hospital. She had like a black eye, and we found out obviously the story because we texted her the next day. We're like, "Are you okay?" The fake name she went by was Babe. Like she's like, "Yeah, my name's Babe," who was like this totally fake person, a real person but a fake person. And she came back the next day and told us the story, and then we had a more proper sort of threesome, and she was actually totally fine with the double penetration. But for whatever reason, she wasn't expecting it. So she totaled her, it was like a nice Mercedes or BMW, but she wasn't mad about it. She was rich. She had rich parents living in the Pacific Palisades. So that's one crazy threesome story anyways.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That chick, yeah, fuck.
She was lucky she didn't get a DUI. Extremely lucky, and extremely lucky she didn't kill anyone, and luckily only, damage to the car, which insurance covered. But yeah, so you were mentioning a story earlier. You want to tell that one, and then
I don't remember whether we touched it on the previous podcast or not, but maybe we didn't. Whatever.
So you were saying on this one you said you would come back to it some.
Yeah, I don't think we touched it on the previous podcast, but
no, you were mentioning on this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I'm not sure it's not, but whatever. Anyways, I'm walking with the wing in the center of Riga, and I see this tree set, and my wing / student, whatever, he doesn't do 2 sets. He's doing 2 sets, 3 sets. He's like, single sets, I can't do 2 sets, can't do 2 sets. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. You have to wing me with this one because it's 3 chicks.
Yeah.
I opened the set because there was this blonde chick, fucking hot, heels, legs, really nice. And her friend, one of her friends was also really hot. And then there's another chick who was more alternative, but not really my type. I realized the blonde is extremely shy, not opening up, but the other hot chick is really open and hee-hee-ha-ha, and they say, oh yeah, out of all of 3 of us, she's the crazy one. So I take her number and I go on a date and we fuck pretty fast. And even as soon as we go to my place, we're chilling there, and she was getting annoyed that I'm not yet, and I haven't yet started fucking her. So when she became a regular, she was the same girl that I fucked on a table while the other one was sleeping. And I knew that she's best friends with the blonde. So one is brunette, one is blonde. I know she's best friends with the blonde, and they've had threesomes before. So that's what I do as friends. And from the get-go, she knew, yeah, I want to fuck your friend as well. And I was at this party with other pickup guys, this Russian community in Latvia. And we were in this sauna party and drinking vodka, just getting shit-faced. And I respond to the brunette's story. I see them both sitting in a bar, and I respond to the story. And they're, oh yeah, we're out, but we can't get in a bar because we forgot our IDs, so they won't let us in a club. What are you up to? I'm at the sauna party with my friends, and she asks me, hey, can we join at your sauna party? And I didn't see that message because it was I sent my message and I close Instagram, I put down the phone. But while I close Instagram, before I block my screen, turns out she sent that message. Can we come over? So basically I left her on red. Mm-hmm. 2 crazy chicks are asking, can we come to your party? And you just read that and don't respond. What the fuck? Mm-hmm. So 30 minutes later, I get a phone call. It's like, hey, how is your party? Can we come to your party? And I know what that means.
Yeah.
And I just say, this party is getting kind of boring. I was thinking of leaving. I'll see you at my place in 30 minutes. So I go to my place, they show up. And by that point, I was out with guys drinking. And I don't drink as much as I was drinking that night. I was completely shit-faced. Let's just say I barely remember the threesome. They show up at my place already pretty wasted. We do some more substance abuse and it kind of is you have this vibe that they know why they're there and that they came with a reason, but at the same time, they're playing me a little bit. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, and it's cold, and then I give them a blanket. I put a blanket over all of us, and I made out with the brunette, and which is the one that was a regular, and the blonde was the brunette kind of says, yeah, my friend doesn't like you, but again, just as a test, I know they're just playing, and they start making out with each other, and then the blonde is kind of on top of the brunette, straddling her, and they're making out on the sofa. And at one point, I just come up from behind, and I just take off the blonde's dress, mm-hmm. And she's on top of her friend, you're making out fucking naked, the top one. And I don't know, it's just, and the rest is history. And that's that's a crazy story, because that was a threesome from a 3 set. And fuck, I've tried to pull the top off ever since, and I never succeeded again. I had a period where whenever I was doing a 2-set, I was never choosing one of them. I was kind of working with both of them with the idea that we all three will go out for a drink. And even though I got so many numbers trying that, I never got them to come out on a date like that with like 3 of us.
Oh, really?
I know it's an easy thing to pull off in a night game, but a day game, like just opening a 2-set and then closing them with the idea that.
Yeah, it's much tougher for day game. Night game, I've done it a few times in bars and clubs, just kind of gone up to girls, started flirting with them. And it was kind of obvious from the vibe after many years of practice and understanding that vibe, like, okay, these girls are very sexual. They seem to be sexual with each other. And they seem to be looking for a guy. Because girls will go out with, they're not necessarily having an agenda, but if 2 girls, a lot of girlfriends like will hook up with guys together. And they're not necessarily going out to do that. But if the situation presents itself, they'll do it. They meet the right guy. So the more experience you have, the more you're going to be able to spot those situations and capitalize. So that started happening to me a lot as I had more and more of these crazy experiences and got better. Maybe we'll save that for another follow-up call because I could talk about this stuff forever. It's fun.
Yeah.
As I think of stories, I think of way more stories. But anyway, so where can guys go to find out about you and the coaching you offer?
They can just head mostly to strobert.blog, strobert.blog. Link will probably be in the description. Or if they want to watch I have a few free dating courses and a few free courses on texting where I explain exactly the same stuff I explain my coaching students. Then that's available for free on daygamecourses.com. So they can just check out that or my YouTube or whatever.
Cool. Yeah, and check out St. Robert's podcast. I was a guest on your podcast.
Yes. Yes. And the podcast is probably becoming a video podcast.
Nice.
Pretty soon. I will move to video format. And
yeah. More dynamic. Well, cool, man. Awesome shooting the shit and talking about this. I'm sure the guys listening had a fun educational experience.
Yes, I hope so. Okay, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you want more, go to innerconfidence.com and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for the latest episodes.